What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another video. Today, this is kind of going to be a two-part video. The first part is kind of a one of those things where people ask for for information about it in the comments, and you're like, you know what? Let's make the video. So that's what this is. My name is Frank Torres. I'm a guitar player from Puerto Rico, based in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Today, I'm going to be talking about the pedal board, particularly the temple board and my rig. And what I mean by this being a two-part video is one of them is going to be kind of like how I set up my Quad Cortex with the pedals and how I've got everything running. This is not going to be that. This particular video is going to be me talking about the temple board and kind of like what I've got in the particular rig, just because I've had a lot of people ask me, like what this board is and kind of like what's going on. Let's talk a little bit. So let's just dive into it, talk a little bit about it. This is the temple board Duo 24, and as you can see, it fits quite a bit. It's Duo 24 because it's, well, supposed to be, two lines of pedals and 24 inches, so makes a lot of sense. But yeah, so this is the gray colorway. I'm not sure what they call it, but they've got like 3 or 4 colors if you count the limited edition blue one. But this one, as you can see, is the gray one, and I've got some some little tabs in there with the names of what everything is. And we're going to talk a little bit about these two as well, and what these are. So essentially, why these are cool is because they're completely modular. And what that means is that there's a lot of like moving parts that go into this. And I mean, if you see right here, that's one of the little plates that it comes with. And it has plates in every single corner, right? And you kind of like disassemble it. You take this part off, and now you can take off those plates and put these little modules. And the modules that I'm particularly using for my board is basically the let's start with this one, right, which is the power one. It's the IEC one. It's just a normal standard one for the power supply. So as you can see, that's this module, and what's cool about it is it's got this little switch so you can turn it on or off. So that's pretty cool. I really like that feature. This one is the XLR Pass through, and what it does is, and it comes with a cable too, by the way, worth noting. So it essentially works for stuff like the Quad Cortex, where I've got some XLR outputs, and I really want to have them on the side, just because I don't want to be plugging into the top of the board, especially when I've got some other pedals and some other stuff up here. I like it to look tidy and just to have cables on the sides instead of on the top. So basically, it comes with these XLR to TRS cables, and you just go out of the outputs and come right here, and that'll pretty much work with any kind of pedal that you've got that's got an XLR output, because the cables are XLR female to TRS male, and then the little pass-through module itself is TRS female input, XLR outputs. So you just plug in an XLR into it. And so this little one right here, this one's interesting because if you can see it well there, I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm gonna put it somehow in there. But that one is kind of like one made out of 3 punch plates. The cool thing about it is that you can pretty much modify it to be whatever you want. You can put the little Nutric plugs in there. I've got one for, or not just Nutric, but like the Switchcraft as well. I've got a Switchcraft, what is it, USB-B to USB, or USB-A to USB-B is what it is. And so similar to the other one, what I did is, this one is regular USB-B, so I turned that into USB-A, and then this comes USB-A to USB-B. There's probably an easier way to do that, which is just USB-B all the way around, but that's just what I could find. Modern day solutions, I guess. So another attachment that I had to buy was this little bracket, which is pretty much for the so you can put in a power supply, and all of these are going to be supported by, so you need these little plates that I'm going to put somewhere around here. And these plates just, they go into whatever pedal or whatever power supply you're putting on there. And then you've got these little screws. And so pretty much the actual plate will fall into place over here, like as you can see here or here. And you just kind of like, you know, align it and then put the screw on. And now it's, you know, super tight. It's not going anywhere. I've been with this for, I want to say, a year and a half now, and I've never had any issues of something just falling off or moving or doing anything. So that's pretty cool, not having to worry about that kind of stuff, especially with the cabling. Right now, I mean, I've redone this board a couple of times, but right now, I've got a little bit of an intricate setup, which I'll be talking about later on and explaining what's going on here. But yeah, not having to worry about that stuff to me is just awesome. And now, basically over here, on the other side, I haven't used anything here, but if you can see it there, I'm using the X2 pass-through for TS and the X4. So just regular, you know, pass through the X2 mod, and then I want to say this one's the X4 mod, not sure, or it's just the X4 pass-through. And all this is just TS inputs and outputs. That's really all it is. So I've got my input right here, which this goes into my drive pedals, into the quad cortex, and that's the chain that's going on in there. Then I've got what some other ones, like the second input. I've got the outputs 3 and 4 if I wanted to use outputs that are TS. Let's say if I wanted to play with my amplifier or something, and then the capture and the headphone. So that's pretty much just, you know, what I'm routing into the quad cortex. But that's kind of like the kind of stuff that you can use it for, but you can really use it for anything. I mean, you can use these little mods for inputs, for effects loop, let's say. I mean, and that's kind of like a scenario where I would really, you know, want to use this. I'm honestly thinking about building like another one of my boards in the temple board format because of this. Especially the other analog board that I've got. Just because, again, having everything from the sides, to me, it's just, it's insane. It's really cool. So again, so what I would do if I had, let's say, like a fully analog board, like the one that I've got over there, which I'll talk about in another video, what I would do is I would have inputs, outputs, and then I would have effects loop send and effects loop return. That way you can have everything separate. And probably, since I am using on that analog board, I am kind of using like a, you know, like an amp and a pedal as well at the end, though I'm not always using it, because sometimes I'm using it with my amplifier. Like I would have like the DI mod, because there's another mod that's not here because I quite frankly just don't need it in here. That's a DI mod, so it's also a DI box. That's really cool, especially for, let's say, I mean, quite frankly, any kind of board that you build, you're probably gonna, you know, want to have a DI if you're, let's say, doing bass or doing acoustic guitars, or I mean, even electric guitars. If you're using something like the Dream that I'm using on that other board, it just makes it a lot easier. It's way cleaner. I don't play without a DI box anymore when I'm using that kind of stuff. Obviously with this I don't need it because it's got the balanced outputs, but just being able to have the balanced outputs is really cool. So yeah, that's the Temple Board Duo 24 and the build that I've got. If you have any questions, drop them down. I'd love to talk more about the Temple Board stuff because they're freaking awesome. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Feel free to subscribe if you're into this kind of stuff. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys on the next one.